As of late, the Great Kurt Angle debate has re-emerged. For those unaware, and most of you probably should be,
People are always blissfully unaware.
the debate is quite simple, as many people declare Kurt Angle to be the greatest of all time, or others quite bluntly yell that actually he sucked. It's a war that's entertained me for some time, as I'm not sure that any wrestler has two opposing camps so firmly rooted in their position. Unfortunately, I'm not entirely innocent either, using the debate's recent revival to irritate my good friend Ibu of Wrestle Purists. To be clear, I absolutely believe Kurt Angle to have been great. I just also believe that AJ Styles is better. Did anyone ask? No. Is that relevant here? Absolutely not. But you must seize upon any and every opportunity to rattle your co-host. With that being said, the whole ordeal left me feeling slightly guilty, and so I'm here to redeem myself. Celebrating perhaps the most unhinged Kurt Angle performance of all time. Yep, you guessed it. TNA Lockdown 2010, and that match with Ken Anderson.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
The irresistible force meeting the immovable object. You want a war?
Oscar 316 says I just whipped your ass.
It's a pipe bomb.
But you don't need a hat to be a cowboy.
Tonight, a new era begins. The man that revolutionized professional wrestling.
The one, the only, Hulk Hogan. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do?
2010 was a fascinating time for TNA. By fascinating, I of course mean hilarious, as Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff's arrival shattered the promotion's already inconsistent identity. In many ways, they've never truly recovered from that particular campaign, though I do intend to cover their underrated 2012 rebound at some juncture. Nonetheless, the Lockdown pay-per-view came just a month and change after TNA's infamous move to Monday nights. It is all this horror that makes Angle's performance especially unfathomable, inexplicably putting his life at risk in the name of professional pride. TNA's immediate fate had already been decided, but this piece of history emerged regardless. One of modern wrestling's most staggering miracle matches. Now, that seems inherently dismissive of Mr. Anderson, which isn't even really my intention. Well, not fully at least. Anderson was a lead acquisition of the Hogan era, returning to television after his May 2009 WWE release. He was an immediate hit for TNA too, connecting with live crowds right away and serving as a genuine main event player for a year or so. However, even the most generous glance at Anderson's game wouldn't suggest a match like this, with his strengths generally being as a promo and personality. Suffice to say, this is the finest match of his career, with Daylight coming in second. It's a match mostly remembered for one particular spot, a visual that even closed Peacock's recent Angle documentary. It is quite a bit more than that though. In fact, this match's core ingredients are almost in complete contrast to that particular stunt. At heart, this is old school pro wrestling, the kind of match that's rooted in timeless truths. Angle is a vengeful hero, sporting a contained rage opposite the more animated Anderson, an utter coward at every turn. Interestingly, that dynamic is fully unlocked by the escape the cage stipulation, which is totally at home here. It's a version of the cage gimmick that's often dismissed, but at times, I maintain it can arm these matches with a unique drama. Here, it is even more specific, with Anderson owning the key that unlocks the door, which is this bout's only route to victory. While limiting, the stipulation suits their natural story, shining a light on the obvious contrast at play. Granted, it's not blessed with an electric crowd, or not initially at least. It's a pretty thin crowd on a rather middling show, but they hook them soon enough. The physical wear and tear is evident in Angle's opening shine, dishing out punishment at a pretty steady pace until things escalate as Anderson turns the tide. Blood follows, and to his credit, Anderson responds accordingly, firing away and transforming his prior cowardice to gleeful aggression. It's not an outlier either, as Anderson is genuinely good here, understanding his role at every turn. His work makes the most of Angle's blood, and before long, the match is increasingly gross, as every cage match should be. That escalation includes an especially horrifying visual as Anderson strangles Angle, drawing a superb sell in the process. There are still some typically insane angle choices, including a back suplex to transition rather than the top rope belly to belly. To be clear, I say that lovingly, as they are part of the charm for me personally. The kind of quirks that earn a baffled God bless more than anything else. Speaking of such, his eventual comeback feeds into a 10-minute finishing chunk, trading moves without losing the match's escape centerpiece. There's even a nice touch in that regard as Anderson hits his finish, going for a cover only to be reminded of his predicament. As you'd expect, the offense ramps up too, including 30,000 German suplexes, because of course. Along the way, Angle continually refuses to escape, occasionally paying the price and ultimately throwing away the key, or allegedly at least. Nonetheless, Anderson again responds perfectly, returning to something truly pathetic as he finds himself cornered. It is then time for that spot, the spot, as Angle heads up top for a terrifying moonsault. It's a moment that in so many ways defines Kurt Angle as a pro wrestler. Is it necessary? Probably not. Is it dumb? Almost certainly, yes. In truth though, neither of those things are reflective of my actual response on each and every rewatch. Simply put, this just rocks. You can dissect it to suggest otherwise, but at some point, the firework is allowed to just look cool, or as in this case, like it could potentially kill you. It's a degree of commitment that shatters otherwise apt critiques for me. Sheer effort that resonates on a raw, instinctual level. That's why I totally understand the connection with Kurt that so many have. There's an affection that through sheer will, he's earned with insanity. Hilariously, the moonsault isn't even the finish here, as Anderson lures Angle back in, producing one last burst of drama from the escape stipulation. This culminates with glorious, satisfying redemption, as Angle chokes Anderson unconscious, then kicking him in the balls on the way out. It is professional wrestling in its purest form. Angle does not consider the morality of his revenge, instead kicking ass and leaving his rival a crumpled, shameful mess. More of this, please. Our heroes do not need to be perfect people, nor do they need to be level-headed purveyors of justice. Sometimes, they should just kick ass, righting wrongs without giving the villain even a hint of redemption. That flavour is my favourite thing about this match, even with the stunt that's sustained as a rare positive memory from 2010 TNA. It's all totally wasted on this setting, obviously, unable to save the promotion from a fate that was sealed 4 months prior. For better or worse though, Kurt Angle only knew one way, and this night remains the strongest evidence of exactly that. Memorable match with more depth than your memory may suggest, a career best for Anderson and my personal favourite of Angle's TNA catalogue too. To translate, real graps.